Hello, Earth Angel, and welcome to the Devotional Drip, a series where you are invited to experience and explore a deeper devotional relationship with your higher self across the altars of your personal and professional life. My name is Sarah. I'm a higher self embodiment doula, coach, and consultant for visionary entrepreneurs, change making creatives, and heart based leaders across the globe. This week, something so special and exciting is happening in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Temple space. I just opened up application and enrollment into the signature Blood, Bone, and Honey private mentorship program, Emerge. So I am going to put a link to this digital altar in the description of this video so that if it resonates, you can check it out and apply, get your free clarity call booked, and get yourself in this January 2022 cohort. Yes, which we are kicking off January 2022. The program both has a one-on-one and high-level group element to it. I only accept a handful of Earth Angels at a time. So if you want in, hop on it. Links below. I'm so excited. It's an honor to serve you. Regardless of whether or not you're going to apply for the private mentorship program, I also have an incredibly delicious series of videos that are going to drip out for you over the next week as a part of the Devotional Drip. So starting today with this video, we're going to go through a series of videos that explore topics around self-care, leadership, and committing to the change that is calling you at this time. Because what I'm finding right now in my work and as I'm working with clients is that in this moment, leaders of light across the globe are being activated big time. They're being called into higher visibility, more activation, more action, ascension, bigger expressions of themselves in their mission, shedding old identities and emerging anew. So within this video series, we're going to explore the way that self-care is related to your practice of becoming, as well as your leadership practice, and where committing to the change that's calling you and operating from a place of devotion are three non-negotiables on your journey of higher self-embodied leadership. Wiggins, my cat, just ran upstairs. It looks like he has the zoomies. He may be joining us. Wiggins, would you like to join and come say hello? Come here. Okay, maybe he'll come say hello in a minute. Oh, here he is. Here he is in all his glory. Wiggins says, hello, everyone. Wiggins joins us for pretty much everything in every program. He's present for all of the sessions. I consider him part of the ceremonial process. So very appropriate that he is coming forward in this moment if you haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet. Okay, so within this video series, you're going to get a taste of the deeper level content that we will be exploring in the private mentorship program, Emerge. So if you're feeling moved and inspired and curious beyond this series, consider that as a part of your self-qualification process for the program and go ahead and apply. But again, regardless, the intention of these videos is to be high value. As all devotional drips are, these topics are potent and powerful, whether or not private mentorship is right for you at this time. And it is my prayer, it is my deepest prayer that it supports you in feeling more higher self-embodied, feeling more connected to your higher self, so that you can walk forward on your journey in a deeper embodiment of your power and your magic and your light. So let's get into it, kicking off with our first topic, topical versus transformational self-care. So starting off with a disclaimer here, only you get to decide what self-care is for you. You are your own boss, you're your own leader, and what I'm here to offer is a conversation around transformational self-care and what that could look like in practice to provide an infusion of inspiration that sparks self-inquiry, that leads to self-development, and ultimately higher self embodiment. I have witnessed the crisis of self-care that doesn't actually take care of the whole self time and time again. In fact, when I first started offering one-on-one work, I would get intake questionnaire after intake questionnaire from potential clients telling me that either one, their self-care practice was non-existent, leaving them feeling sad, scared, disconnected from themselves and out of their power. Two, their self-care practice was inconsistent. They didn't actually want to land in it because it wasn't actually creating any transformation, leaving them feeling frustrated and inadequate. I can like taste it on my tongue. And then three, their self-care was not getting to the root of what was actually coming up in their system, leaving them feeling just perpetually exhausted and unworthy of feeling good. Almost like feeling good wasn't in the cards for them or wasn't possible for them. This is where I started researching the possibility and potential of a more multidimensional self-care that serves as a transformational experience of self-healing and self-resourcing versus a topical remedy you apply to cover something up. I have a lot of thoughts on the way that self-care has been commodified, packaged, and sold to us as something that happens outside of ourselves versus something we can self-generate, but I'll save that for another video. What I will say is that if you've got your body, your breath, your willingness, some space to lay on the floor, move your body around, perhaps a journal and a pen, as well as the courageous, vulnerable willingness of meeting yourself moment to moment, breath to breath in presence, then as far as I'm concerned, you're in business and have the capacity to create a self-care practice that is transformational and as multidimensional as you are. Wiggins. He is zooming so hard right now. My cat witches know. He's just going off. I'm gonna let him go off. Wiggy, do you want to come sit? Wiggins. Okay, well, I'll do this thing. Okay, so let's talk about topical versus transformational self-care. Topical self-care looks like a Band-Aid. Transformational self-care functions like a bomb that sinks on in. Topical self-care is robotic and stale, almost like you're just going through the motions. Transformational self-care is fertile, adaptable, ever-changing, and creates spaciousness for potential. Topical self-care will tell you you need something outside of yourself in order to do it. Transformational self-care invites you to go within yourself and resource the power of your body and your breath and your higher self-awareness to get her done. Here are some ways to identify if your self-care practice is actually serving as a transformational experience for you. So transformational self-care is based on the power of your intention. So you're in your agency and authority. It's not mindless, it's mindful. It's your mind plugged into the body. It's the mind-body connection. It's the brain, heart-brain coherence. Transformational self-care takes you from point A to point B. So it creates a shift in your experience, in your relationship to yourself, and also your relationship to your life and whatever happens to be initiating you into your power in that moment. Because as we know, in the blood, bone, and honey temple space, we practice blocks as initiations and portals into our power. So your self-care practice has to provide a transformational experience for you where you can meet that which is resonating as a block and dense and actually move from point A to point B and go through the portal. Transformational self-care brings you deeper into your body versus out of it. This feels like such a big one. Transformational self-care brings you deeper into your body versus out of it. So you're surrendering into yourself versus running from yourself. Transformational self-care has you shining light in the shadow versus bypassing the shadow. So it reveals something to you. You see the light in your own darkness. You face your own programming in order to feel free. Transformational self-care invites you to transform limiting beliefs, fear-based, shame-based programming and suffering into a deeper capacity to heal and love. It's the divine feminine transmission of, with every contraction of pain, there is an expansion into pleasure. I pulled that from my notes right before getting on. Higher Self had me there, because this transmission, every contraction of pain is an expansion into pleasure. I mean, that is such good news, that our pain is actually here to initiate us into deeper levels of our pleasure through our willingness. Wow. So transformational self-care invites you to transform limiting beliefs, fear-based and shame-based programming and suffering into a deeper capacity to love. It's the block that becomes the portal. Transformational self-care is consistent because, get this, it's a moment to moment, breath to breath, day to day choice to not abandon yourself and your journey of healing, awakening, and becoming. Moment to moment, breath to breath. What thoughts are you practicing? What words are you speaking out into the world as spells? What reality are you practicing in your body? Transformational self-care is a homecoming to your own heart and higher self. It is not this magic wand, quick fix, I wave it around. Again, it's the divine feminine transmission of, with every contraction of pain, there's an expansion into pleasure. So there's no valley then, and no initiation that's too dark. There's no aspect of your shadow or your own internalized punisher or inner critic that you're not willing to face and meet in order to embody and reclaim more of your own higher self light. In transformational self-care, you see the light in your own darkness and you face your own outdated program in order to feel free. You understand the assignment. You understand the initiation. You understand that you are a soul in a body living within the mystery school of life, within the school of planet Earth. So I invite you to consider in this moment, is your self-care practice currently functioning and feeling like a Band-Aid? And if that's true for you, if you lift up that Band-Aid and you look under it, what's there for you? What's currently feeling wounded and tender for you? What's asking to be met? Wherever there is pain, there is a call for presence and higher self-witness and a potential for pleasure. The higher self is not some ideal version of yourself that you're trying to become. You, who you actually are, is your higher self. What transformational self-care will do is plug you back into that true source self, higher self essence. And it serves as an embodied reminder that you are the convergent point between where heaven and earth is meeting to have a human experience. Transformational self-care is as multidimensional as you are. There are no rules, there are no limits, there are no have-tos, there are no shoulds. Something I find myself reminding my clients is that self-care doesn't have to look a certain way. It's about the internal feeling tone. Your self-care practice can be as unique and multidimensional as you are. It's a process of self-discovery. Transformational self-care will have you exploring your edges and breaking glass ceilings in consciousness so that you can welcome yourself home back into yourself over and over and over again, because transformational self-care provides and allows enough space and reprieve from the programming to remember and discover what is real. From that place of higher self-awareness and consciousness, you get to decide and discern where you need to actionably apply that newfound consciousness that you created within the spaciousness and container of your practice to your own being and your life. So again, you are your higher self. Your transformational self-care practice is allowing you to create enough spaciousness between who you actually are and the programming in order to create a transformation within that space. You're quite literally pouring more of yourself back into your body. You're bringing the consciousness of your higher self into your body. This is what we're going to be practicing in the Blood, Bone, and Honey private mentorship program, Emerge. It's you going in, it's you devolving and going in and going down in order to ascend and go up. It's the transmission of bringing your higher self more into your body, letting that light reach places that have maybe felt shrouded in darkness for centuries. Because this lifetime is about awakening and ascension, yeah? And maybe that doesn't resonate for you. And if it doesn't, then this transmission isn't for you. This private mentorship program isn't for you. Maybe the devotional drip isn't even for you, and that's okay. But this is for who this resonates with and who it is that I'm talking to. So if this really vibes for you, then welcome, welcome, welcome. We're creating a global network of activated leaders of light who are willing to embody their higher selves in this lifetime, which is fucking courageous. And transformational self-care is here to support you in doing that. How empowering, yeah? How empowering that we can create this experience for ourselves. And once you learn how to do this, you got it. You have the codes. You can apply the codes over and over and over again. And every time it takes you deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into your body, into your truth, into your higher self essence. Transformational self-care will have you caring about your whole self. This is so important. Your whole self, not just the parts that you think are like spiritual and light and beautiful and wonderful and fun. Your whole goddess blessed self, honey. Even and especially the parts that you've historically jamed. You've historically, that's my new combination for judgment and shamed, that you've jamed, that you've judged, that you've shamed, that you've hidden, that you've outcast, that you shoved to the back of the line. Cue inner child and inner teenager and any expressions of your being, of your essence, of your magic, of yourself, ready to be witnessed, integrated, and cared for at a next depth of presence, so that they stop driving the vehicle from a place of unconscious wounding, and you take back the wheel in your higher self agency. And all these parts of you come along for the ride, but you're steering the ship as your higher self. And you're integrating these parts of you on the way as a part of your transformational self-care practice. Because that wounded one within, that scraggly one, that one who hasn't gotten enough love and light and water, it's like that plant in the garden that's dying. Like in your transformational self-care practice, you honor that part of yourself. You honor the parts that are ready to be witnessed, that are ready to be integrated. You put that plant on the altar and you water it and you pray over it and you talk to it and you tell it that it is welcome to be here. So transformational self-care will have you taking care of your whole self, especially the parts that you're ashamed of, that you've historically judged, and the ones who have not been invited to the party, and maybe the ones that you had to send to the back because it wasn't safe to express and share that part of yourself up until this point, but now it is. And now you get to reclaim that part. You get to reclaim that part if you choose to do it. This path is a choice. How empowering that we get to make this choice. Transformational self-care sparks an inner awareness and transformation that creates the external shift. As above, so below. It starts inside. As within, so without. Your vibration precedes manifestation. Law of vibration, law of attraction. So you shift the internal experience in order to shift the external experience. You quite literally shift your vibration, and then you watch your life change around you. That is the power of transformational self-care. It starts inside. The private mentorship program that I am currently in the process of enrolling for would have not been possible without my self-care practice. It wouldn't have been possible. I had to say yes to my vision and self-validate my process over and over and over again. I had to meet fear and choose trust. I had to make big decisions, use big discernment, and let my potential and my spiritual maturity versus my pain and any parts of myself that are still in victimhood lead. As a leader, the ability to self-care and self-affirm and self-motivate is a non-negotiable. Self-care is your fuel. It is your fuel for your mission. It is your fuel for your ministry. Transformational self-care builds self-trust, self-intimacy, self-worth, self-confidence, self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-agency, and self-sovereignty. From a place of taking care of your whole multidimensional self, you can lead from your whole multidimensional self. No part left behind. So does your self-care practice currently allow you enough spaciousness to hang out with your pain, to hang out with your fear, to hang out with your shame, to hang out with your guilt, to hang out with your programming, to hang out with your doubt, without abandoning yourself or looking away? Can you look yourself in the face? Can you look that programming in the face and meet it? Is your self-care practice supporting you in awakening and healing and getting to the heart of the matter? Is there enough space for you to actually do that? Transformational self-care is for you if you don't only not want to skip the part or bypass the part where you get healed. You don't want to snap your fingers and make it happen because you're stoked to meet the call of your soul and your higher self to do this work. You know that the pleasure is in the transformation itself, that there's nutrients of wisdom that you're going to gain along this way. You are excited to walk this path. Transformational self-care is for you if you feel that yearning, almost like you're craving a certain food, you're craving this kind of practice. That's how you know that transformational self-care is for you. Transformational self-care is a get to versus a have to do. That doesn't mean that it doesn't sometimes feel like a have to. It sure does. Sometimes it sure does. But that's the higher self-embodiment piece of being your own leader and being your own steward and being your own parent and parenting your own consciousness. When you parent your own consciousness and getting on board with what's good for you, your healing and your growth versus what isn't, that's where the power lies. When you actually parent your own consciousness and getting on board with what is good for you, your healing, your growth versus what isn't. And that also doesn't mean that self-care isn't indulgent. Transformational self-care, honey, welcome to the divine feminine ministry. I don't show up with red lips and a white robe randomly with the altar lit and elevated and totally calibrated and gridded. Like, your transformational self-care practice not only can be, but should be indulgent, pleasure-filled, pleasure-fueled. And personally, for me, as a devotee of the goddess, of the divine feminine transmission that is coming back and reseeding itself onto the planet right now through our willingness to embody it in our day-to-day thoughts, actions, and choices, as a devotee to that, for me personally, it's a non-negotiable in my practice and in the practice that I offer as a facilitator and teacher. The pleasure is in the transformation, the phoenix rising from the ashes, you meeting yourself again and again and again and again and again after what has felt like centuries of slumber. It's the reminder that you're incredibly powerful and capable. You are capable, reclaiming your capability and your agency to self-steward and self-heal. That doesn't mean that we don't also have team and teachers. I always have team and teachers. And anyone I work with, I become a part of their team. A part of their team of facilitators, teachers, and practitioners that they are working with in order to embody more of their higher self, heal from complex trauma, come deeper into connection with their gifts and magic, arrive at a next level of visibility and leadership and expression. So there's so many more things I want to say on that right now, but I'm going to call it into center. And after this potent transmission, I want to leave you with some holy homework, as we say in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Temple. So in this moment, let's get into a little bit of holy homework. In a journal or in your notes, so go ahead and pause this and grab that if you need to. In your journal, in the notes on your phone, whatever floats your boat, I'm going to invite you to write a sentence or two. Write it out, get it out, let it channel onto the paper. If it's more than a couple sentences, that's totally fine. You can pause this, come back, use your higher self discernment and do this in your own timing. There's no right or wrong way to do this. In a couple of sentences, write out what's been really getting you recently. In the Blood, Bone, and Honey private mentorship space, we call this the conscious dump. It's like taking that conscious dump in consciousness of like what's here and what needs to get out. So write a couple sentences around what you feel like is currently coming up for you right now as a self-limiting belief, a story, a program, a block. And it's really fucking grinding your gears. And you know that it is the block that is also the portal into your power. Even if you're not connected to the portal piece yet, write it out, get it out, pause this video, do your thing, come back when you're ready. When you're ready, I'm going to invite you to write out 3 tangible actions that you can take as an act of transformational self-care to spark the internal shift within yourself that will resonate as an external shift within your life. So these couple of sentences you just wrote out, maybe, again, maybe you got self-limiting beliefs, maybe you got a story or program that's really grinding your gears, maybe it's a disempowering voice of the inner critic or inner punisher, maybe it's a habit or a way of doing or being that you're ready to shift. What are 3 ways you can have transformational self-care consciousness around this in the form of 3 actions that are going to create an internal shift that resonates as an external shift in your life? Consider what would feel delicious, grounding, stabilizing, and activating and expanding for you at this current moment. Maybe the thing that even feels a little bit scary. That's how you know. Like, transformational self-care is going to take you to the edge, right? So let yourself get big. Take a breath into the fullness of you. Be willing to challenge yourself. Be willing to lead yourself, which is, sneak peek, what we're going to be talking about in tomorrow's drip. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, let yourself get expansive around this and drop in the comments. Let me know. I would love to know, what are the 3 actions that you're taking? What are 3 ways you're going to implement the transmission of transformational self-care in your life? What are you currently moving through? What's the block? What do you feel like is on the other side of that block? What's the portal? Share with me, drop it in the comments, inspire other Earth Angels to do the same. Send me an email, send me a DM. And if you're like, wow, this is really hitting the spot for me and you're looking for a deeper level of support, I invite you to click the link below, check out the Blood, Bone, and Honey signature private mentorship program, Emerge, kicking off in January 2022. Emerge is advanced personal development and trauma-informed awakening for visionary entrepreneurs, change-making creatives, and heart-based leaders who are ready and meeting the call to embody their higher selves through transformational, multidimensional self-care that hits the sacred spot. 4 months, both a one-on-one and high-level group element. It's going to be metamorphic. Link below for that. And I will see you in the next video where we're talking all things transformational self-care and higher self-embodied leadership. Until then, many blessings in divine love and service to your highest good. I will see you next time, Earth Angel. Mwah.